Mark, are you and Shannon in the same room there?
We are, and you notice we're wearing our masks.
Of course. That's the correct protocol.
There you go.
Same room together. I'm by myself, so I don't have to wear my mask. I'm in a private office, private space, right? And Vanessa is with us. Hey, Vanessa. She's on mute.
You hear me now?
I got you now.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt your annual leave this week.
Okay.
All right, we'll wait another minute. I know I just called Councilmember Mitchell and he had not looked at his email, so I informed him of the meeting just a few minutes ago. There might be others.
Okay.
Did we hear specifically from anyone, Vanessa or Jennifer, that they
Jennifer may be more up to date. She's in the office. I
were
don't
not
know
able to
that we've
join
heard
us?
from anyone. She sent out a comprehensive email yesterday, last night.
I haven't heard from anyone that they would not be available.
Okay. Well, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Myself, we do have a quorum. But we'll give it one more minute and see if anybody else joins us. How about that?
Okay.
All right.
Councilmember Mitchell is on now.
Yeah, I see Councilmember Mitchell, Gregory. Good. Councilmember Seekings is joining us, or at least I'm seeing him now. Okie dokie. Well, we certainly have a quorum, so I'd like to go ahead and call this emergency meeting of Charleston City Council, August the 3rd, 2020 to order. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Yes. Councilwoman Del Chapo.
Here.
Councilmember Shealy.
Here.
Councilmember Saccharin.
Here.
Councilmember Mitchell.
Here.
Councilmember Brady.
Present.
Councilmember Gregory.
He's here.
I see him. Councilmember Waring. Councilmember Seekings.
Here.
Councilmember Shade.
Present.
Councilmember Griffin. Councilmember Griffin. Councilmember Appel.
Here.
Councilwoman Jackson. Councilwoman Jackson.
Don't see her.
Mayor Tecklenburg.
I'm here. Thank you very much. And we'll keep an eye out for those council members, see if they show up in the next few minutes. Councilmember Mitchell, would you please open us with a prayer this morning? I would appreciate it.
All right. Let's bow our heads. In times like these, we need a savior. In times like these, we need an answer. But we all have to be very sure that our anchor holds and it grips the solid rock. We come before you, Father, asking you to come and just to guide us and be mindful of all the things we need to do to better our lives and others. We're asking you to look at the individuals who have lost their lives under this virus and be with the family members and give them peace and comfort in their time of sorrow. These blessings we ask in your name. Amen.
Great. Thank you, Councilmember. So tropical storm or hurricane, as the case might be, Isaias is upon us this evening. I'm sure everybody's been following the movement and weather reports for the last few days and engaged in getting ready. We've had, not just for this storm, but all year, staff hurricane task force that's been working and making preparations is led by Shannon Scaff. And if I may say so, he and the team have done a remarkable job. Of course, we're pretty well rehearsed. You know, we've had a storm every year now for some years running, but you always can make things better and tweak things. And every storm is like an individual almost. They're all a little different. And the big fear this year, of course, has been responding to a storm in the midst of a coronavirus pandemic. Luckily, in this case, Isaias is weak enough that no evacuation was called. Charleston County has not called to open any shelters. So the biggest fear was about congregating people in the event that we had to open shelters and evacuations. So obviously that's not happening. And so it's not a concern on this one, even though a lot of energy and brain power has gone into how we're going to handle a storm that would necessitate sheltering. So the best advice that I've had for everyone is tonight, just to stay in place, shelter at home, shelter in place wherever hopefully everyone has a safe place, and just stay put and not be out and about on the highways or going out anywhere. So I think that'll be the best advice we can give all our citizens. So with that prelude, I'd like to call on Shannon to give us the latest update on what we have from the National Weather Service, number one, but also share with everyone what our team has been working on for preparations. Shannon?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, thanks for the kind words, sir. Hurricane Task Force, really all the credit goes to them. Daniel Flessis, Mike Tito, Tony Curtella, Matt Altop have done a phenomenal job for the last several months. So appreciate your kind words, sir. And I really appreciate their hard work. As of 11 a.m., Tropical Storm Isaias was 90 miles southeast of Brunswick, Georgia, moving north at 13 miles an hour. It was projected to reform as a hurricane and to maintain hurricane strength as it passes along the Charleston area coast. Winds have already increased, and tropical storm force winds are projected by early this afternoon. Rainfall amounts of 3 to 6 inches and locally higher are forecast. Some of the heaviest rainfall may occur around tonight's 8:59 high tide, which is currently projected at 8 feet. With the tide at this height and with the amount of rain, rate, and timing of rain projected, the city assesses that we will see level 1 flooding. Level 1 flooding is significantly disruptive, life-threatening, and property damaging. National Weather Service Charleston notes the potential for widespread and dangerous flooding to occur in and around the Charleston metro area, especially across downtown Charleston and near tidal waterways. A tropical storm warning, storm surge warning, and flash flood watch are in effect for our area. The time to be ready for deteriorating conditions is now. Be safe, do not drive into floodwaters, and do not be outside during the storm. With that, I'll go ahead and hand it over to our incident commander, Mark Wilbert, who will give us a brief on the team's efforts.
Thank you, Shannon. Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, members of council, staff. So we've been preparing for this storm since Friday, and we essentially started preparing for exactly the storm that we're going to get. Our greatest threat that we're facing and greatest risk that we have is storm surge, which is forecasted to be somewhere between 2 and 4 feet. Heavy rain, which may most likely occur during that same time. And then wind, I would consider the third threat that we're having. So flooding, particularly on the peninsula, particularly in low-lying areas, is our threat, and that's what we've prepared for. We've got an incident command set up, myself as the IC, Deputy Chief Broughton as the daytime Deputy Incident Commander, and Deputy Chief Cruzen from Fire as the Deputy Incident Commander for night. Our next briefing for the Incident Command total briefing will be 7 p.m. tonight. Just a couple of notes on what we've been focusing on. We really have been focusing on getting the trash picked up, the garbage picked up around the city, because that's the best way to ensure that the stormwater systems that we have in place are operating most efficiently. So there's been just a whole bunch of effort put into that by our public service team, by our stormwater team, by just about everybody in the city. Dan Riccio and the Move Out group have really put a lot of effort into making sure that our city streets, particularly on the peninsula, are as clean as they can possibly be, so that the things that we have in place work as efficiently as they can. As you know, we've opened up now 5 garages. We're getting ready to open up a 5th. We're going to open up one over in the west side. And then you probably have heard that we're looking at early dismissal of our city work staff at 1 p.m. today. That should give them a couple of hours to get home safely ahead of any type of sustained tropical storm force winds. Our recreation department will be calling camps at half day, and our courts will be closing at 1 as well. As I said, a lot of effort has gone into stormwater cleaning, and they are still out there today, and they are ready through the night. They've got pumps pre-deployed throughout the peninsula in strategic locations so that we can keep strategic roadways open. We did ask, and we've received now a high water vehicle from Bluffton County with 2 technicians to operate that. In addition, we've gone ahead and deployed all of our high water vehicles by both police and fire. Main focus tonight, just to wrap this up, is going to be preventing any loss of life by people driving into high water, standing water at nighttime. Police have the lead for all road closures, making sure that if roads do get flooded, that they're closed, and keeping that report back to the incident command. Fire has pre-positioned their assets for any type of in-water rescues that we need to do within the city. And that's really where our emphasis is. We're doing this virtually. It's the first time we've done it. There's been a lot of pre-planning going into this. It's really important that we communicate out to the public, and our PIO shop has been doing a remarkable job of that. So keeping people off the roads is the message, preventing loss of life, and hopefully this tide comes in, the rain comes in, and it goes out, and we wake up tomorrow morning and we've got a good city that we can get back to normal. So that's where we are. Pending any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Otherwise, we'll turn it back over to the mayor.
Any questions for either Shannon or Mark? Councilmember Saccharin, then Shea.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mark, for that update. Is there any place where I can direct some constituents to the garages? I've had several emails this morning and just wanted to make sure I get the right information out to them about garages that are closed on the peninsula, or basically open for them to park their vehicles.
So all garages remain open. It's 5 that they can park at for free. And I don't have them off the top of my head, but the latest one is over in West Edge. We just opened that one up, and they'll be able to park there till 10 tomorrow morning. It's also in the press release. We can have that sent to you.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir. Oh, I'm sorry. Councilmember Shea, I had recognized, and then Councilmember Griffin next.
Thank you, Mayor, and thanks Shannon and Mark for that update. So the advice we want to pass on to our citizens is to stay off the roads beginning when?
That's a good question. I had that down on my notes, and I apologize for not hitting that. 8:59 is the high tide tonight.
Right.
So that tide, the last time we checked was an 8-foot high tide. We're still looking at 2 to 4 feet of storm surge, which storm surge is 2 to 4 feet of inundation at the location where water hits dry ground. So obviously if it hits at high tide, it's going to be higher. If it hits at low tide, it wouldn't be as much as it moves in. So 8:59 tonight is kind of the witching hour where everything comes together. Hopefully, the last update we got from the National Weather Service was that the storm had picked up a little bit. So maybe we'll be slightly ahead of that high tide. But as of 6 o'clock this morning, it was looking like everything was going to kind of converge together. Storm surge, the rain, and the high tide, which is exactly what you don't want. But we're prepared, and 8:59 is the time. And the message is, please stay off the roadways. It's very dangerous at night in heavy rain, driving into floodwaters. We just don't need that. We just need about, 8 hours or so to get this rain, the storm surge out of here, turn the lights back on, and make it safe for people to travel.
Okay, but prior to 9 o'clock, we want folks off the road prior to 9 o'clock. Isn't that right?
That's
I
correct.
was just gonna
All right,
say.
so was it 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock? We should tell folks to stay home?
Yeah, so build in that fudge factor there. Typically on a high tide without all these other influences, we're looking at 2 hours on either side with a higher tide. So, 5:30, 6 o'clock, I think is reasonable.
Let's say 6 o'clock.
Yep.
All right,
So the garages that are free are the Queen Street garage, which I'm told is nearly full already. The Aquarium garage, which I'm sure has lots of room. The Visitor Center garage on Mary Street, which is a very large garage. And then the St. Philip Street garage right near the College of Charleston. And then we just added the West Edge garage. So, and we put out a notice that it's free until 8 a.m. We're extending that to 10 a.m. tomorrow morning to give people a little more time to get their cars out. Councilmember Griffin?
Mayor, can I ask you one more follow-up question before you go to Councilmember Griffin? Just one more follow-up question. Are we picking up trash west of the Ashley and debris west of the Ashley? You mentioned the peninsula prominently, but what about West Ashley?
Not today, no. And we put the notice out that this is like a holiday week, I guess, with everybody a day delayed. But since Monday was the normal day for the peninsula, we focused on the peninsula because people would have normally put their trash out today, and some did and didn't get the word. So we've been trying to pick up what we can. Councilmember Griffin.
Yes, sir. My question was mostly just about the garages too. I've had people calling and emailing and texting me about parking in the garages. And I'm just wondering, I appreciate you extending it to 10 a.m., but what's the purpose of even having it that early tomorrow? Because we don't really know how bad it's going to be. And if we do get hit with a significant storm surge and, not getting hit till 9 o'clock tonight, I'm sure we wouldn't want people out in the morning trying to get to their cars if, downtown's flooded, which is a very high possibility. So I'm just wondering, are we going to be monitoring that situation and extending it? Because we certainly want to keep as many people out of those areas as possible. And I know a lot of the people on the peninsula are already utilizing the garages. So I'm just sort of concerned about that, but I'm sure that you'll be monitoring that and hopefully if need be extending that if possible.
Absolutely. And yeah, I've had discussions about this. We have that, we're hopeful that this will not be a big impact on our city tonight. We're very hopeful. I mean, as of right now, we're expecting our city employees to report for duty as normal tomorrow morning. They park in those garages too. And so with the hope that tomorrow will be a pretty much a normal business day, I guess there's a little pressure to keep the time earlier rather than later. So we extended to 10 just to give a little extra time. But absolutely, if this thing goes sideways and we really have a more impact, we'll be happy to extend the time for free parking.
Thank you. And that makes more sense. I mean, like you said, we've got to reserve a lot of spots for getting back to business tomorrow. So I completely understand you on that one. And I will just tell everybody to just continue to look for the updates and we'll keep people updated that way.
Right. Thank you so much. Any other questions? Councilmember Shealy.
Thank you, Mayor Tecklenburg. Just wanted to ask you, so this morning when I was on my way to work, there were a lot of cans. I have a big Monday pickup in my district, but those cans will not be picked up in West Ashley, only on the peninsula. Is that correct?
Oh my goodness. I got to Shannon, do you know that? Because that's Carolina picking up. I'm thinking about our city crews, council member. So
Be Carolina Waste.
it could be, well be Carolina Waste
I
should be
believe-
picking up today.
I believe Carolina Waste has gone to the same schedule that we've gone to.
Is that right?
I believe.
Not knowing that, but Shannon, would you give Matt Altop a call right now and just verify that?
I might be able to help y'all out there because we have Republic out here in 29492. And yes, there is a truck coming out today, and I'm sure Carolina Waste is probably doing the same thing to pick up in case somebody did not get the message, but they will then wind up also coming back tomorrow. So that's what Matt told me this morning.
Okay.
Regarding Republic, and I'm gonna say it's gonna be the same thing with Carolina Waste.
Right. Gotcha. Okay, we'll get hopefully better intel on that in just a minute. Thank you. Good question. I was just thinking about our city crews. Thank you. All right. Any other question or thought? Y'all know we did open up today offering citizens to get sandbags if they wanted to at both Milford Street and at the Joe at the ballpark over on Fishburne. And the town of James Island had also opened up today to offer free sand and sandbags. I don't think that there's been a brisk business, but there's been a steady, a slow but steady
figures on
coming by to pick up some things.
Yeah, I'm standing here.
And they're just going to stay open until, as long as the weather allows today, up till 4 o'clock.
We do
somebody
it on Carolina Waste. Go ahead, Shannon.
Yeah, I've got Matt on the phone now, and he says Carolina Waste is running tomorrow, West Ashley.
They're running tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow, yes, sir.
1 day behind then.
So are they trying to go out and just pick up things for folks that didn't hear about the delayed schedule?
What's their intent for pickup tomorrow, Matt?
They're going back to their Monday, they're going to run Monday routes.
Monday routes, sir.
We're not picking up today. Anybody, Matt?
No.
So what was that again?
A truck doing the same thing that we were doing.
Okay. They sent one truck out to go around and look for stuff that was out, but they're really looking to run tomorrow is the main route.
Yeah. And
So
we're 43 sandbags. Joe Riley.
I would ask our citizens that if they put their can out and hadn't gotten picked up, to please bring it back in and put it back out on the curb tomorrow morning. Councilmember Shealy?
Mr. Mayor, would it be possible for you to mention that at your 1 o'clock press conference?
I'll be happy to. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So next, if I could call on Susan to make a few remarks about this proposed emergency ordinance. And I will just say it is likely that we would look to close some streets tonight. Hopefully not many people be out driving. We're asking everybody to stay home. But if streets are flooded, particularly those that happen on a regular basis when these storms occur, well, we certainly want to have the clear authority to close them. And in addition, I don't foresee this happening whatsoever, but we would like to have the authority to have a curfew just in the event that the storm that turns out to be worse than we think, and we need to do that. So Susan, do you want to add any remarks to that?
Mayor, good afternoon, everybody, or good morning, I should say. This summarizes, you summarized it very well. Again, just reiterating that this is a series of tools for the toolbox, and that at this point, there would not be any actions taken, but just we're going to be prepared for the worst, and that in the event that it would be necessary to close any streets or for you to issue a citation, obviously that word would be going out separately to the public through the media. The ordinance is an emergency ordinance, and it would be in effect, we said, for 96 hours, just out of an abundance of caution, or could be terminated earlier at the mayor's direction. These actions to restrict access to the streets for both cars and the public are taken as an extra precaution, and obviously for safety, public safety reasons. Other than that, I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
And I think this makes 4 years in a row that we've had a similar ordinance that we've had. Councilmember Shade and then Mitchell.
Yeah, just Susan, section 2 and section 3 mentioned a curfew. Are we in fact imposing a curfew?
No, we're not. This
Okay.
is just to give the mayor the authority to issue a curfew after consultation with the chief of police and also emergency management. And it would be based upon the evolving facts from the tropical storm that create dangerous conditions in the city.
Okay. I just want to make sure that everybody was clear on that. That we're not, at this point, this order is not addressing a curfew, but
No.
just gives the mayor the authority in the event.
Correct.
Thank you, Susan.
Councilmember Mitchell.
I would thank Councilman Shade for that. I was going to ask that same question because I have my grand staying with me, and she's in school, and well, she's on her externship because she already finished school for certified medical assistant, but she's up there at Nason's near Northwood Mall, and she doesn't get out of school till 7 o'clock. I mean 6 o'clock. So I don't know what time she'll get down here. So I was looking at a curfew. If there's a curfew, then she'll be in trouble. You see what I'm saying? So
I don't foresee it happening, to be honest with you, but it's just having the tool in the toolbox and something in case something goes sideways.
yeah, so that's why I was thinking about people who are out there and their externship in school, and they're coming back into the city where they live, because you don't know if the school going to close down early or Nason's going to close down early, because Nason is a medical facility, so you don't know if they're going to close down early or not. To give the employees, the people there who are out there on school working there for a while, to get home early or not. I don't know. I haven't heard from her yet.
All right. Well,
So there's a lot of people working, up there at those particular places on the externship from college. So I just want to make sure of that because she lives here, and we have in the city here by me.
yeah, I'm sure.
Okay.
It's just a tool in the toolbox. We're not calling anything
Yeah.
in.
Move for approval?
We have a motion to approve
Second.
and a second. Any further discussion or question? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? The ayes have it. So any other comments, questions, advice as we head into yet another evening of a passing storm?
If anything changes, we may meet again, or if you have any, we're gonna have more updates, keep getting the updates that we're getting now, or?
Yeah, I think we're good. Our emergency management team will have a conference call again, Councilmember Griffin, at 7 o'clock this evening. I would just tell you that if there's anything substantially different or meaningful after that meeting, I'll reach out either just let you know by email or call a meeting if necessary. But I certainly hope not. I think we're all hoping for the best on this one. And the latest track I saw had it even a little further to the east from where it was very early this morning and yesterday. So don't get me wrong, we're going to get some wind, we're going to get some rain, and we got a high tide at 9 o'clock. But if everybody stays in and stays off the roads, I think we're going to have a good evening this evening. That's my hope.
Thank you so much.
All right. Anything else for the good of the order? Seeing none, stay safe, stay in, pass the word, and we'll talk to you soon.
Everybody stay safe. Take care.
Bye now.
Thanks,
Stay
everybody.
safe.